Hi, welcome to World Recapped. In today's video I am going to recap an episode from an American animated series called Love, Death, and Robots. Spoilers ahead, please watch out. The movie begins with three scientists driving to a beach. Because earlier, they were informed by local fishermen of a mysterious giant they discovered at the beach. The fishermen were so shocked that they reported it to the authorities, who didn't believe such a strange story at first. But as people began to visit the beach and return home with crazy stories, the scientists decided to go see for themselves. When they arrived at the beach, they were shocked to see the giant for real. One of the scientists, called Steven, narrates a story about a naked dead giant. The day before, a massive storm had hit the sea, which washed out the dead body of the giant to the shore. Everyone was afraid to go close until one brave girl appeared on top of the giant before they knew it was safe. Steven and his friends guessed the giant was super heavy, like 80 tons heavy. Steven thought the giant looked young because of his nose and mouth. They walked around the mysterious giant, looking at him closely. They even saw a little pool of water in the corpse's hand with fish swimming in it. Where tiny Steven says that beyond the size of the giant, the simple fact that he exists surprises him the most. He compares the giant's existence to the crowd on the beach, and concludes that they are just imperfect and puny copies of him. As Steven watches the lifeless man, his friend climbs on top of the giant chest and waves happily to everyone, indicating it was okay to come closer. People now started going closer and started climbing the corpse. Some of them comment that the body is rubbery and bouncy. Children start playing on his chest, trashing it with their shoes. Steven, however, doesn't touch or climb on it. He and his colleagues stare at the giant from afar while writing their notes. After a while, people got tired of playing with the giant and went home. Steven came back 3 days later because he couldn't stop thinking about the giant. His job was now to keep an eye on the giant. He didn't think it was weird to watch over someone who wasn't alive anymore, because to him the giant felt more lively than anyone else. He saw kids sliding on the giant's chest and workers talking about cutting his big bone. The next day, Steven waited until it was almost evening to go to the beach so he could be alone. The giant didn't look so good anymore and was starting to fall apart. A girl was sitting on the giant's ear like it was a chair. Steven noticed the giant didn't look as young as before. He thought it was because the giant had been in the water too long. A crab came out of the giant's mouth, and Steven knew the giant would soon decay completely. Steven finally gets the courage to set foot on the corpse. On top of the giant's chest, he sees a sandcastle someone had built. The giant's arm was also decaying, and his eyes looked cloudy. Steven felt sad for the giant, who was now all alone. When he came back another day, the giant's arms and legs were gone, and teenagers had written saucy things on him. Steven didn't want to see the giant end like this, but the sussy words made the giant seem more real and human. When Steven comes to the beach the following day, he is almost relieved to see that the corpse's head has been removed. Birds eat its flesh, as Steven watches it from afar. Without the head, the corpse looked less human, which reduces Steven's relationship with the corpse that he had formed. Steven didn't go back to the beach for a few weeks. On his next journey, he witnesses that any feature indicating that the corpse was once human had vanished. All that was left was his rotting stomach. People had lost interest in the giant and forgotten about him. Months later, after the giant's arrival has been forgotten, various pieces of his body can be seen around town, especially his bones, which are used as decorations. While cycling one day, Steven notices the giant's skull lying abandoned. He believes that if he looks around the town's pubs, he will find mummified noses and ears as well. Steven thought these parts showed how great the giant was, better than his memory of the giant's rotting body. The giant's private parts had been cut off and put in a circus museum, but they were wrongly labeled as a whale's. People who saw the giant only remembered him as a sea monster, but Steven still thought of him as alive. He often dreamed of the giant coming back to life, walking through the town, and picking up his body parts on his way back to the sea. The story is deep and meaningful. Some fans think that Steven is the giant because he feels the giant's pain. The way Steven describes the giant's body decaying makes you wonder if he's the one going through it. The story makes you think about what it means to be human and when we lose our humanity. In the end, the giant was just a myth before he washed up on the shore. People saw him for a short time but then forgot about him, turning him into a myth again. We humans, like the giant, will someday fade away and only remembered by the people we met. But eventually, those memories will fade too, and will be gone. Wow, that's a bit sad, isn't it? I hope you have learned and enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to comment what you have learnt from the video. Thank you.